Reapers Underground. We hope you survive.
What is going on, demons, on a Friday night? It's that double shot Reapers Underground week, and I am so excited because the only member of my team here at the Underground I have never actually interviewed, but she has interviewed me before. So I was like, 'tis the season to be jolly. So I figure it is time to make that happen as we're getting ready to close out a whole fuck ton of season finales. But there is one thing for New Year's Eve, but I'll talk about that at the end. What is going on, everybody? Kyler, Mortimer, Cody, Rebecca's lurking somewhere, I'm sure, saying, "Don't put me on camera." Lizzie, what's going on? Brother Dustin in the house. That's right. We're going to be talking about all the fun type stuff that Sydnee has been up to. And this whole year has been a rising year for literally everyone. And that's the kind of positivity that I'm trying to drive home this month before we begin 2025, because it's going to be a big one for all of us. So we're going to be talking about all types of stuff. And before we get into this fun business, we're going to take a quick commercial break to our brother over at Horror Bar. Oh my goodness, I just went the wrong way with that. Let's try that again. Horror Struck hot sauce. Check it out. Hotter than hell. That's right. If I didn't fuck it up at the very beginning, it probably would have went over so much better.
It happens. You just gotta believe it.
Hey, if it's not the computer, if it's not StreamYard, if it's not me or anyone else, I definitely am on the chopping block for that. Babylon in the house.
We didn't even have to summon him. It must be Friday.
Exactly. He was like, he must have got confused and thought it was Saturday.
Right.
Just fucking with you. Oh, man.
And Rebecca showed up too. Good to see her in the comments.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. She said, I was listening to rock versions of Taylor Swift. Don't come at me, y'all.
Hey, Blank Space by I Prevail is a fucking banger. I love that.
Yeah, we've had that discussion. There's nothing wrong with the Swift. I'm just not a Swiftie. More power to you. But it's great to see all of the Great Addict family here tonight and everyone else that has tuned in to check this out. Don't be afraid to share this out anywhere and everywhere that there is a horror lover, a reader in your life, and a fan of all different types of podcasts. So,
and to clarify, that was horror with 2 syllables.
People always get me on that. I don't know why.
Well, just because I'm your guest and it sounded like you said a horror lover, and I'm like, pardon me.
No, it's not the first time I heard that. That's okay. That's just my accent from up north.
I'm further north than you, son.
Well, I was in Ohio for 43 years. Yeah. Yep. So I've only been out in the sticks for about 3.
That's all good.
Babylon says, not just riding the snake, eating shrooms and gummies. Wow, you're going to have one hell of
It's
a
going to
pink
be a
elephant.
fun comment section tonight. Woo!
You know what? I'm not surprised.
That's so funny. I love it.
Oh,
And
my
just before
goodness.
I'm sitting here scrolling, like, oh wait, I can scroll. Hey, cool.
Well,
I don't know if you saw Kyler's sister graduated from nursing college. So everybody give a big congrats
congratulations,
to
Tyler.
Skull's sister.
Hell yeah. Glad to hear
My
that.
youngest daughter will be graduating in a couple of years from nursing school too. So yay!
Nice.
Good stuff.
Dustin drinking a beer and having a giant gingerbread cookie. I mean, what goes better? You know what I mean? You go for it. Everybody have a great time tonight. Normally I would be in my great satanic self, but this evening my face is pissed off. So we're just going to leave it.
You've got that angry
For tomorrow. That's my goal. I'm going to do a fun little twist on the old makeup tomorrow. That's my plan anyway.
There you go.
Goes.
Gonna show up with a red nose like Rudolph for the Christmas special?
Possibly. I've done stranger things over the last 3 years, so who fucking knows? One year I wore an entire reindeer onesie. That was fun.
That sounds awesome.
It was actually really hot too. So Babylon says, it's been a week, my friends. I'm normally like this, but it's only temporary. Aw, I feel that, brother. My week has been complete shit. Let's just put it out there. And why? That's because we still have 2 more days of this Mercury retrograde, which is the last one for 2024. Can't wait to just smack that right out of the way. Oh, man. Energy-wise, the whole fucking nine. But what we're here to talk about tonight is the great Sydnee. What a wonderfully found talent, a hidden talent that we did not know about. And I remember the first time we met, I was like, I finally get to be on the other side of the interview chair, because I don't get to do a lot of them like I used to when I was still playing in bands, because, you know, if I had to promote a tour or promote an album, it was like, okay, I was the face because nobody else wanted to go on. Right. So I just kind of grew to love it because I love talking to folks. But you know, it was for Johnny Necro's 25th anniversary. And yeah, there it is right there. My copy is with me. It's just not now because my current abode, I can't really dress up.
Gotcha. Well, friends, check out Johnny's book and all of his stuff. He's an amazing human. I love him dearly.
Exactly. You can find him at Johnny Necro. You can find him at The Frozen Dead. And, of course, Johnny Logan Harley.
And Random Insanity Productions.
All the things, because
all the things.
He's the only one I know that has as many socials as I do. It's ridiculous.
Oh my gosh.
I can't even keep up with it half the time. And if I get depressed, forget about it.
Yeah. And Horror Adorables and Fantastic Creations.
Mm-hmm.
Wanted to get those out there too.
Awesome. Good to hear, man, because I'll tell you what, you know, I absolutely love that I'm hearing that you're trying to lose weight, because I've been back on my diet too. And believe it or not, I looked at myself today and I was like, it's working. I definitely feel lighter and a bit stronger. So
I need to get back on mine, because I think today I needed a bucket of lard and a shoehorn to get into my jeans, and it is out of control. So, but I don't even eat sweets. So like it
doesn't have to be sweets that does it.
No,
either.
It's a cheese belly. I've got a nacho gut. I'm like 10 months pregnant with a freaking cheddar baby is what's going on here. It's ridiculous.
So. No, I feel that. For me, it's like it's Gouda and you know, Colby Jack and hot pepper. And
oh yeah.
If I find some garlic cheese curds, forget about it.
I always tell my husband the fact that he owns a deli is not why I married him, but it's a perk. It's a damn perk getting cheese whenever I want. But now mine's my age. I hate to say it. Perimenopause is the devil, and things that used to work don't work anymore. So we're just figuring it out. It's all good. I'm going to literally roll with it pretty soon.
I can get up at like 2 a.m, 3 a.m, have to use the bathroom. And the next thing you know, I go stop by the fridge, pull out the honk. That's right, by the brick, and like just snap off a corner of it and just go to fucking town. I love it.
Me too. Good stuff.
It's the snack that keeps on giving.
Yes, absolutely. I'm laughing at Dustin's comment if you saw that.
Oh yeah, he says, wait. He says, wait, Sydney, didn't we hang out 10 months ago? I gotta go. That's funny.
That's hilarious. Especially because he doesn't eat cheese.
Right. Babylon says, cortisol and lack of sleep are my worst enemy. I'm getting even eating healthy, but cheese is my demon. Yeah, for all of us. And it's the best demon to have.
Absolutely. I love it.
As long as you don't see any green.
Just cut it off and eat the middle.
Oh, shit. Oh, Cody, my brother, you and me both, man. I'm extremely thankful for you too, sir. And cheers to the future, my brother. Wow. I've only done that a few times on Reaper's Underground.
What's that? Cheersing people?
Oh, yeah.
Leave it to me, right? I'm the bad influence.
No, not at all. That was just I'm right there with him. I know the pain, and it's more than one pain, and it has been for quite a while. So it's kind of a plethora of things, but things are looking brighter. That's all I fucking know.
Oh,
talk to us how, after moving out of the adult entertainment end of things, what drove you to think about maybe writing a novel? Or was that something that you kind of always wanted to do?
Well, I've always been a writer. I've kept a diary since 3rd or 4th grade, and they're freaking hilarious when you go back and read those. But I've always
the fact that you still have them is badass.
Oh yeah, hilarious. With the little key that you open, that little lock, you know. So I had kind of a running narrative of things that went on. So I was kind of like, I'm going to write a novel. This was 15 years ago. I'm like, I'm going to start a novel because, you know, in my head I had, you know, Sydnee going to work and the stories and everything. And as I went down that path, it occurred to me that there were kind of some lessons in my experiences. So I switched gears and decided to do the personal, instead of like a fiction series, I decided to go nonfiction. But having 3 kids and all, it took over a decade for me to have the time to sit down and really.
Exactly.
Yeah. So it took me 4 years to write this, which is why I'm so annoyingly proud of it. And I talk about it all the time, is because it was an investment.
Honestly, you have every reason to be proud of it, because it's very relatable to anyone at any given point in their life. I think it not necessarily just maybe been through some of the same experiences you have, but on different levels, you know, just like the everyday grind, parental things, always being kind of like the black sheep or this or that kind of deal. So,
and that's what I always say, like, you know, it's stories from growing up in the church, it's stories from working in gentlemen's clubs, and it's lessons that can be used by anyone, thongs and heels optional. You know, if you want to wear that when you read my book, I'm all here for it, but that's your choice. And then once I started, like with a lot of things in life, you know, starting is the hardest part. So once I got started, then it got exciting to beat my own word totals. I'm like, I'm going to get 10,000 to, you know, like, and then it was a contest with myself.
Sure.
And a lot of people would love to write a book and ask me for advice on how to write a book. Just sit down and write. You can edit later. Don't start editing while you're writing, or you're never going to get past chapter 1. Just have a complete like word vomit and then go back and edit it. Or in my case, I hired an editor because
so fucking smart.
Yeah, because I saw it in a certain way, and she was like, well, you need to move this around. I'm like, you do it because I can't picture it that way. And it was like, it was better for the flow and all, but in my head, the stories happened in a certain order. So I needed somebody else to say, well, for the reader, this is better. So that was a sound investment.
Absolutely. There's so many great freaking things out in the comment section. He says, so you guys messed me up. I was at a retirement party for a colleague, and it was mentioned she plans to travel to Thailand. Ah, damn it. I am bound by the rule. And he says, my immediate reaction was grabbing a drink.
And you know what's funny is I've been, because of my whole like dealing with depression and stuff, I haven't been working out and all like I normally do. Right. So I went back to my soulmate workout, which is called combat. It's like nice. Martial arts, taekwondo and stuff. And at one point he's like, we're doing Muay Thai. This is from Thailand. And I'm like, I can't drink in the middle of a workout, but I immediately thought about all of you guys when he said it. I'm like, all right, it's, 8 a.m., but tonight I'm going to catch up for you guys because Dan said Thailand. And I just did too, so drink.
Honestly, I can't agree with that enough, especially just doing any kind of Eastern meditation. They have some of the best. For me, it's more like just being still, which is a challenge in and of itself, just to be still, just to listen to your breathing, close your eyes and see what messages come in here. And half the time you can start to feel some of those weights lift off you, like no matter how much of a fucking chain is around your neck.
The only time I ever have success with that is when I go to acupuncture. I cannot meditate in my house. Like my brain is so busy. I tell it to shut up and it says, so when I go to acupuncture, and I've been getting, I have 7 needles in my back right now, actually.
Nice.
I'm so stressed. I get to play acupuncture the home game. But they have the little,
make me pinhead. Let's do it.
Just stick them all in your face. But you lay there with your head in the donut, and I sit there and I'm just like, and I'm thinking, and then I go and I wake myself, like I passed out and I didn't know I did, and then I like snort and I'm awake. I'm like, oh, cool, I fell asleep for a little bit. That's the only time I can actually like zone out like that is during acupuncture.
Nah, I feel that. I totally do.
I love it.
Oh my goodness, just to grab a few more of these. I'm getting the itch to record some new music and videos bad, dude. I totally understand that. I've been starting to write some lyrics and it's pretty doomy, pretty depressing stuff. Kyler says, we are all having a shit week. I love you all. To be honest, from my heart, talking on the show and off the show means so much to me because y'all are like heroes or people I look up to. And you know this from personal experience, brother. Even anybody that's involved in the shows. Somebody needs to talk. I'm always there.
Me too.
I always know that I can verbally dump, emotionally dump to any of these folks as well as yourself. And I'll tell you, even if I'm fucking wrong, you can slap me in the face if you want to, but at least you listen. And that's so fucking important, I think.
That's what I always tell people. I'm like mostly hearing impaired on the left, but the right one works and I'll listen. I just have to go.
I can attest to that, having a ride cymbal ear. As a drummer, because that is the largest and loudest cymbal. That, and if you have a china next to it, forget about it.
I can only imagine.
Damn, there's so many.
I know. I'm like reading comments. I'm like, what's that say?
They're talking about the white cosmic space Jesus again. Who would have thought that little fucking video I threw up that one night would still be topic of discussion today? It kills
It
me.
made an impression, I guess.
I guess so. Awesome, brother. I can't wait to see that. See, and that's what Sydnee has done here. With this book, everything I needed to learn, I learned in Go-Go. So, or need to know. Sorry, God damn it. There it is. Thank you. See, visual aids. It helps.
It's like a mirror. I always get it backwards. It's there. It's there. You can see it. You know where it is.
It's so fucking funny because I always kind of felt that my life has been a movie, and it still very much is. Would anyone actually want to read? I mean, some of my shit is like, wow.
I think there's an audience for everyone, and if you are feeling compelled to write down your stories, write them down. Sometimes it's only therapy for yourself, and then if you publish it, you never know who else can relate and be like, because that's what I was saying with this book was I did a lot of personal development when I was a fitness coach. That company is kind of falling apart now, but for over a decade, I've been affiliated with a company where I've been doing fitness coaching and stuff. And part of the thing that they push is personal development. You need to work on yourself. And some of that stuff sucks, and it's like, well, everybody's reading this book. And I'm like, I don't relate to this at all. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, I'm going to write a personal development book that is not preachy, that is not boring, and that's going to be fun to read. So
and not something that you would find, I can just go on Google and look for this quote and it's the exact quote from it. It's like this is something a bit more human, more on the level of, like you said, not being preachy or being too overly deep on purpose.
Right. And the thing is, like, you might not have been on stage in front of 1,000 people and have like a Janet Jackson moment, but everybody's been embarrassed at some point. So it's relatable in the embarrassment, even if it's not a specific that happened to me specifically. You can still relate to the experience and the emotion attached to it.
Absolutely. I would say the only embarrassing moment I ever had on stage was falling off the drum stool drunk. That was just a very bad thing because somebody at that particular club laced my drink with something, and I just automatically knew that, this isn't how it usually goes.
Yeah, I only got roofied at work once. I got roofied at a concert. My husband and I both got roofied at a concert.
Well, goddamn.
Yeah. Those lesbians really wanted us to go home with them, but that was quite the evening. But no, at work I was always very, aware of where my drink was and to make sure that it's not, because it takes a half a second,
right?
But it was the stories in here, so you can get the more detailed version because it is a really funny story of my boss at the time that insisted on me drinking with him because I didn't drink for the first decade I worked in Go-Go. I didn't drink at all. And guys would get pissed off because I'm like, I want a ginger ale. And they're like, you don't drink? I'm like, if you have to get drunk to do this, this isn't the job for you, was my mentality then. The last few years, I took a total 180 on that stance. But it was, I was still early 20s, didn't drink. Yep. And when the boss comes in and is like, he thought he was Tony Soprano. You gotta have a drink with me. So I'm like, all right. I'm like, I'll have a woo-woo. Do you know what a woo-woo is?
No.
It's vodka, peach schnapps, and cranberry juice.
Ah, okay.
So I order it, and I
talk about acidity.
Acidity and sugar out the ass. So I said, make it light because I don't really drink, And he goes, make it a double. What did I call him? I think I called him Frankie. Everybody's got a different name. He's like, make it a double Frankie special. So it was this much alcohol with a of cranberry. I'm like,
oh, Motherfucker. That's some sneaky shit right there. I hate
And
that.
every time I went on stage, like I'd drink a little bit and I'd go on stage, I'd come back and be full again. I'm like, God damn it. So I did my usual backflip, only I flipped off the stage.
Oh no.
And the last thing I remember is the bartender shoved a turkey sandwich in my mouth from somewhere. I don't know where. Yeah, it was. And this was a day shift.
See,
but yeah, so
go ahead.
You're not the only one that's fallen off the stage drunk at work, because that was crazy.
Well, they're. See, I can relate to a lot of the stories because I've seen a lot of them. Excuse me, firsthand, because for about 2 years, I bought a gentleman's club, and I ran it, for 2 years, just basically as an investment, like a quick cash grab, turnkey operation, get it going, get the clientele up, and then boom, get it out. I was a big fan of doing stuff like that. But that was the only time I ever had a club like that. So I can relate to a lot of the, just on the other side, like the person seeing it in real time versus, you actually having to listen to these things and deal with these, type of people on that level.
And that's the thing, like over that 13 years, I was a dancer, I was a bartender, I was a manager, I was a house mom. When the DJ didn't show up and I was managing, I'd have to jump back there and DJ, I have like thrown people out. So I guess I'd bouncer too. Like, I did all of the jobs over that time. So, oh yeah, trust me, drunk guys are easy to take out. Come on.
Always.
Kick them in the shin.
I love when they try to throw a haymaker and it's like, who are you throwing your fist at?
Yeah.
It's like
they don't know which one of them they're looking at is the funny thing. It's like, which one? You don't know which one's the real me, And I talk about the bouncer that I worked with that he was a shit show. Rest in peace. But when he would kick guys out, he'd pull the Al Bundy on the way out and slam them into the wall next to the door and then throw them out the door. So that was always fun. And he would insult you on the way out as well. So not only were you physically hurt, but he'd hurt your feelings as he was kicking you out.
Oh yeah. If you have to go out like a bitch, yeah, that pretty much takes you down a peg. You don't want to come back there. Guaranteed somebody's got a picture of it somewhere.
Oh yeah, everything has security cameras. So there weren't cell phones back then, like camera phones, thank God. I don't know how the girls deal now.
It's got to be awful.
Because you can say no phones, but somebody's still taking pictures, So I'm so surprised about everyone in the comments who has been roofied. I am so sorry that happened to you.
I can't believe that it's that common to be even able to get a hold of it in so many different places across the United States. Usually, like, it's a pretty easy thing to get in a bigger city, especially like East Coast, West Coast, that kind of thing. But it's like all the other states in between. It's like, whoa, really? What the fuck?
Yeah, well, supply and demand. I'm sure if somebody's going to pay for it, they're going to find it. oh gosh, more. Not the double dipped acid. Whew.
Oh, hell to the no. What
no,
the
thank
fuck?
You.
Were you at a hippie convention?
I don't know what's going on in Austin. That's crazy.
Of all places, that's crazy though. Crazy.
Yeah.
So, have you had anyone kind of reach out to you since, you've had this out, and say like, that helped me in this way or inspired me this way, stuff like that?
Oh, I've had several people say that, and it means the world to me because that was the point. Was I want to help people. So when I've had people come back and say that, it really meant a lot. I have one friend who, read it and she loved it so much. She bought 4 copies for her daughter-in-laws. And she's like, every girl needs to read this. And I'm like, oh, thank you, like kind of thing. And it's not just for girls, but in her mind, the lessons were,
that.
like empowering females. So that meant
it's from
lot
your point of view,
Right. And, like when it's men, especially saying it helped them, then I'm like, awesome. Because I think, and I'm stereotyping, but a lot of guys are more reluctant to reach out for personal development from my experience, like seeing it kind of takes more of a kick in the ass to be like, read this, So when guys say that, it means even more to me because it's like, they don't admit it as easily, I don't think.
No, and being a guy.
You're a guy?
Did you
Shut
know?
the fuck up.
I can honestly say that, I think it's a great tool, especially for younger guys. I don't know, the way I was raised, respecting women in all realms of, any spectrum, that, there's things you don't do, you treat with respect. Always kind, always being helpful, stuff like that. But I think for guys coming up in today's society, I think they could definitely, learn to change some of their ways. And that's kind of like what I get from some of the stories in your book. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Don't be that dick.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say, always that turd in the punch bowl. We were talking about that before. There's always got to be one turd in the punch bowl. But, my best friend has a couple boys, and the older one just turned 13. And they had a conversation about how when you walk into the room, there's always going to be a dick in the room. So he goes, well, what if there's not a dick? She goes, then it's you.
Sure. What's going on, brother?
Hello. He said, well, what if there's not a dick in the room? And she goes, well, then it's you. And so it turned into this whole conversation about Schrodinger's dick, like, because there's a dick in the room, or isn't there? Like, until you go in. Yeah, it was really funny. But, and I want to stress that too. My book does not demonize the customers or, it's not like that at all.
No, not at all.
So
it's just I think just from not just like the horror stories, because there's a lot of funny ones too, like they're just for like just great stories, but there are definitely some that I feel could kind of give the younger guys a little bit of tutelage on who you don't want to be.
Yeah, don't stick a Burger King receipt in somebody's G-string. Like that's
my
rude.
God. Yeah.
Rude.
That was a
Yeah, that asshole. And don't fling lime wedges at somebody's head when they're on the stage either. Yeah. I remember what that guy looked like.
It's always those 20-something college guys too that play the dumbest, dirtiest tricks, and they don't have enough life experience.
As to say, they don't know any better that, and they should.
Like, sadly, they should have been taught that as they were growing up.
Oh, of course. But when they get out with their friends and they're all like 21, and it's all new to drink and go out to bars and stuff like that. And then it's kind of, but that's why I would just give it right back.
Yep.
Like I did not have any patience for that. That would be like, Yep.
Babylon.
I know, I just read Babylon still. But I do want to, before we get to Babylon's, I do want to thank Dustin and Kyler for their comments about the book. Like,
absolutely.
I love that you guys are reading it, read it. And Dustin came on my podcast, and I was supposed to be interviewing him about my book, and it turned into him interviewing me about my book. And it was so fun, and just
he can do that.
He's fantastic. Like, that was like the easiest interview I ever did. So definitely go back and check that out on my page too, because that was a fun episode. And we talked.
You still got to have me on for that too,
Absolutely, yes.
At some point.
Yes, we got to do that. I got a list. I was going to be smart ass.
Oh,
I can't have you on when you're having a show on the same time. I moved my show to not be on the same time as you, and then you moved it back, sir.
And that's kind of the unfortunate part. Well, it's not really unfortunate, but to get certain types of guests that are busy when they give you what they can do because maybe they're on set for the whole next week, or they're on tour and they can't do it from where they're at, or especially international, because I can't tell you guys out there in the Black Flame universe there how many international bands that are about to be coming on. So there's going to be a lot of mornings with me in the near future, and these bands are fucking sick. But for some reason, 'tis the season. Everyone's dropping an album. It's crazy. Oh yeah, absolutely, Dustin, man. You're just awesome. I absolutely loved our interview when you came on before as well. So just always. And I'm always looking for interviews too. To be interviewed, actually. Just to kind of put that out there, in the world.
There you go. And Kyler, I'm so glad that it helped you. Like, I don't know if you read his comment, a couple of them but that means a lot. And I'm really glad that was able to happen.
And that's one of the things I love to see, that this is helping folks in their day-to-day. Because, not to sound repetitive, but at the end of the day, that's what we're trying to do. Whether we're acting or doing a podcast show, obviously, with a book and everything. That's what we hope for. And we hope that it reaches at least one person. We're happy.
Well, that's the bottom line. We all have to occupy this planet together. So if people are at a higher vibration and more positive that we're around, then that's going to help everybody. So anything I can do to help somebody be happier, be more successful, whatever, I want to do that, because ultimately it just helps everybody. And you guys have all heard me say, it's my line, when the tide comes in, all ships rise. That's why we all need to lift each other up, because we all have to live on this planet together. We're all sharing the air. And I don't like to breathe in farts. So stop being a shit and let's all get happy. But seriously, I'm I'm a helper. So I like to find solutions, and I like to help people when I can. So
I would honestly say that's my love language, just in general.
Mm-hmm.
Not just in my personal relationships, but I'm the person that if there's a little old lady who's wants to have a conversation about the most random thing in Walmart, I will stop and I will listen.
Oh yeah. I attract pop-ups. I had a pop-up talking to me today at the grocery store. They're adorable. Whatever. Always. I'll talk to pop-up.
Always. So yeah, that's what fuels us to do what we do. And my motto is very similar to yours. I feel that together we rise, because together we're stronger than just being alone. Because if you're alone, it's kind of hard. But when everyone is working to try to see everyone do good, especially in this industry, oh my God, I don't even want to get started on that. But it's so true. If everyone would just, take the time to be like, I'm going to say something positive to that person, instead of, I can't stand that motherfucker. Did you see that? Let's hear what they say. All that fucking drama shit. If we could just let that go. Wow, we would be so far.
You don't know, especially if it's like somebody out and about, you don't know what they're dealing with. So
nope. Don't know where they come from, nothing. Mm-hmm.
I always err on the side of kindness. That being said, if you're a repeat offender,
right,
then I'm only going to allow so much of your abuse before I'm like, that is who you are. That's not a bad day. You're just a turd. So, you have to protect your own peace too, but exactly. I try to be kind.
That's another thing I think your book does really well is it helps people to be a little bit more of a better judge of character.
Mhm.
as well.
Yep.
You know,
Yeah.
we always say don't judge a book by its cover, not to be redundant. But
My cover's awesome. Judge it by this awesome cover. Thank you, Gareth Southwell. Best cover art ever. Yeah. Shout out to Gareth.
but sometimes, you know, that's just literally them, you know, and you have to be able to spot them. You just do.
Yeah, but that's why I always say that when it comes to dealing with people, I'm going to be as good as I am, not as bad as they are.
Exactly.
So when people are like, why were you still nice to that person after what they did to you? Because I'm not an asshole. Now, I have limits. And if I cut you off, you gave me the scissors because I give people chances a lot more than I should. And, you know, because I'm like, no, no. And then finally I'm like, no, and once you're cut off, you're dead to me. Yeah, I think it's a Pisces thing.
No, actually, I was going to say the great Anton LaVey said the same thing in 1966 in the Satanic Bible. Very same thing when it comes to, well, you know, you know, first of all, you can't love everybody. It's impossible to think that you can. But if someone is not returning your kindness, why should you continue to do that? And then if they do you dirty,
right.
That's it. You know?
And like I said, you know, I'm not one and done because sometimes people are going through something and you don't know.
If they can redeem themselves, that's a whole different ball of wax there. And I hope that can happen more often than it does. But you just never know. Dustin says it's as my imaginary turkey friend says, be kind to people because you never know if they are really an alien ready to steal your pants if you're mean to them.
Dustin, I am kind to I'm kind to my Roomba so that when the robots take over, he can be my spokesperson and be like, no, she's cool. Be nice to her because she was always nice to me. His name's Norbert. I love my Roomba. Nice. So you got to be nice.
Rebecca goes, some people.
Yep. And that's the thing.
Exactly.
There's people that just, you know, like I say, if you go around the corner and get punched in the face, and you go around the corner and get punched in the face, when are you going to stop going around that corner? It's the same way with people. Like if you're nice to them and they are, you know, metaphorically punching you in the face, there's only so many times you're going to put up with it before you're like, you know what, I kind of like my nose where it is.
Exactly. And not to let yourself be a punching bag for somebody.
Exactly.
Mortimer says, wow, YouTube went after him for a kind comment.
They know your name. They have your picture up. Like
that's going on the damn program tomorrow. Because trust me, I've been hit so many times in the last 2 weeks that I'm just over it. But moving on, though. Yes. So, you know, through this book, it's actually led you to starting a podcast for it, which then has kind of led to more, you know, connecting with folks. So talk a little bit about that whole experience.
Well, November 16th was a year since I met Frankie James at it's a food drive that our local radio station does. And nice. We met up and he asked if I would be a guest on his podcast because everywhere I go, I have at least one copy of my book on me because I never know who I'm going to meet that I can, you know, that would like to buy a copy of my book. So I'm always prepared.
That's smart.
Yes. So I Camp Out for Hunger, I gave a copy to Danny Briere, who's with the Philadelphia Flyers. You know, like I had already sent copies to every member of the morning radio show. And I sat there in the front row like this, like, it's me. I'm here. Did you read it? Like, annoyingly proud. That's how I describe myself. So when I met Frankie, I was telling him about the book and he's like, oh, you should come on my podcast. Sure. So I went on the podcast, had a blast. I'm like, this is so fun. If you ever want me to do this again, he's like, you should have your own podcast. I'm like, yeah, okay. You know, and he's like, no, I'll help you. So the first few we did together, like the first season, he and I did together and I had my first interview ever on that show with a dominatrix sex worker from Australia who is fantastic. I love her so much. She is a delight. Artemisia Divine, check her out. Such a fun interview. And that's on my YouTube and my page too. You can go back to season 1, and me and Artemisia had a good old time. And so that made me more comfortable. And like each episode, I would get a little bit more comfortable because my first season 1, episode 1, I refer to as the book report because it's like, welcome to my podcast. I am happy. Like I was reading the whole thing. I had notes up taped to my shelves. It was ridiculous. It was crazy. So now, it's only been that first podcast that I did with Frankie, I believe was in January. So I haven't even been doing this a year yet. But that's why, and I stress this in the book too, just say yes. Say yes. You are either going to succeed or you're going to learn. There's no such thing as failure. Failure stands for first attempt in learning. It's not a bad thing. If you're not getting it right the first time, say, okay, how can I tweak it for the next time? And don't be afraid to make an ass out of yourself. We all do. This whole human thing of, oh no, I made a mistake. Everyone's going to hate me and I'm done. No, own it. I make an ass out of myself daily. And, sometimes it's a contest. How big of an ass can I make out of myself today?
Oh, shit. Go back to the first episode of Reapers Underground. My makeup was hit. It was, it was right. Awful. And my my first guest was a band from California. And I knew them, but they were so cheesy. And I'm just like,
there you go.
I feel that.
Yep. So through podcast, I met, actually through Leah Ciboli too. She does a lot of the voices for Robot Chicken. She was nice. Sabrina the Teenage Bitch on there. She's been on Deadwood. She's got a lot of awesome credits. And she was at the Great Media Comic-Con, and I went the first year with my kids, and then I was going to go back the second year, and that's where I met Johnny Necro, was at the Comic-Con. And he, all of you know Johnny, and he wants nothing more than to see his friends be successful. He is the most stellar human being I've ever met. He's just good energy in a body. So he asked me to do the mini series, which is how I met a lot of you, including Reaper. And that led to the goddamn program. And, it all snowballs because through Leah, I was an extra in Delco the movie. And that was my first movie experience. And then I did another extra role in a movie called Dave and Larry in Philly. And then Curse of the Ghostwriter. I play Reaper's ex-husband, yeah, ex-wife. That in that movie, I have a penis. No, I play Reaper's ex-wife, or soon-to-be ex-wife. Anyway, I think he's a dick.
Oh man, it's not that I'm laughing at you so much. It's I had that fuck up at the beginning of the show because I'm used to saying, welcome to the horror barbecue, and then horror struck.
Right.
Yeah. That was awesome.
Excuse me. Yeah. So anyway, our characters aren't friends anymore in that movie. No. And then more recently was the Red Huntress series, which is freaking awesome. I was also, Sammy is gorgeous. She is just beautiful. I love her and so sweet. Such a wonderful human. So yeah, and also I was an extra in Power of Positive Murder trauma film, which I'm super stupid excited about. I hope I don't get cut because it's not out yet. So it's doubtful, but you never know. When you're an extra, there's no guarantees. But it was a super fun experience. Johnny and I went up to New York, and I had on. Do you have a militia picture? I named my character Militia. It wasn't a trauma named to me. I made my own character.
Of course.
So I had the teased out hair and white face with the black stripes and this vest over a very booby bra top and a mini skirt and fishnets. So they
look like you were ready to kill.
I was a Cretan, so I had to look like a Cretan. And they had us all lay on the ground, and they started throwing chunks of, they'd yell chunky blood, and you get like smacked with like chunks of shit. And then they're like cold blood, and they start, like spraying I don't know who was spraying the blood. It went right up my skirt. I'm like, all right, blood enema. I'm officially in a trauma movie now. Like that one, woo!
The way it goes.
Yeah, that woke me up.
Then again, I mean, when I did my first film, which was Attack of the Corn Zombies, and it came time to every zombie had to line up to get blooded, and I said, "You go to town on me. I don't care what you do. I want to be the bloodiest looking fucking thing." And she was so awesome. I loved working with her for special effects. But she dipped both her hands in the blood and just went and slapped it to this shit just, and it was syrupy and all that stuff. So it was legit.
Well, they were giving us solo cups. Like, some of us got picked to get the solo cup to stick it in your mouth and spit the blood out, but you'd have to do it and drop the cup. And then we were acting like we were getting shot up with machine guns, and we'd have to hit the ground. And I landed on a solo cup and like slit my butt open on the plate. I'm like, what the, but I just went with it because the show must go on.
That's the way it goes.
Sure. I worked with Irene and Erica this past weekend for the Red Hunter series, and they were in Attack of the Corn Zombies, and we're talking about the blood. So they were both super cool, super sweet people.
Were they on the first one or the second one?
I'm not sure. I don't remember. I want to say the first one.
I was going to say neither one of those names sound familiar.
Right. Well, Irene is also an author, and I shared her stuff on my page. So she writes children's books and other books, but I bought a couple of the children's books.
I did see that.
Yeah, so support her too. And Erica did the illustrations for 2 of her books. At least 2. The 2 that I bought, she did. So definitely.
I wanted to be there with you guys so much on this second episode, but don't fret. My voice is still in it.
I think that's what's funny. You were in the first episode, and my voice is in the is in the first episode, and I'm in the second episode, and your voice is in the second episode.
I will physically be coming back in episode 3.
I hope to be physically coming back in episode 3. So please go to Indiegogo and support my support an actor perk so that I can fly back to Chicago, because that was an adventure. As if you have ever flown basic economy, have you ever done that?
Mm-hmm.
So you only get a personal item. You don't even get a carry-on.
Right.
So I had a backpack for the entire weekend, and not to stereotype, but girls typically pack more shit than guys do for a weekend. So, and it was like 20 degrees. So I had to pack my thermals, pack everything. I just lived in thermals all weekend. I'm like, whatever. If I smell, you can't smell me on film. So it don't matter. But trying to pack everything in a backpack for the weekend was interesting. But I did it.
And that's one great thing about Keith and Mac is that they're actually going to try to do that support an actor thing.
Oh my gosh! 100%.
For everyone in the future, so that it makes it easier, because none of us are rich in this acting thing.
Not yet. Manifest that shit.
I am beyond that. I don't know. For me, when it comes to acting, if I can just survive and survive decently, everything's paid. I don't have to worry about nothing. Maybe I can do a couple of fun things. Great.
No, see, you're
if I can spoil my kids.
Awesome. Manifest it so that you win the lottery, so that you can afford to do the acting gigs just like you are now. But you don't have to worry about getting any sort of pay for it, because you got it covered. Thank you, lottery. You got to be creative with the manifestation. And you have to really be careful with the way that you say things, too, because the universe is a smart ass.
Oh, trust me.
I think what happened a couple weeks ago, that I was like, I wanted something to happen, and it happened to completely in a smart ass way. And I'm like, all right, Betty White, because that's what I call that. I see what you're doing. You're being a smart ass. So you have to be very, very specific.
Oh, trust me.
The guy that, that wanted to get a little head and asked the genie for that, and he shrunk his head, like that kind of thing.
As a man of the occult all my fucking life, trust me, I know that. And it doesn't matter because even though you know that rule, there's always going to be that one time when you're just a little bit weak and you're going to say it wrong.
Yep.
Instead of asking for 300, you got 30.
Yep. You gotta watch. Decimal points are important.
So if anybody out there is metaphysically inclined, yeah, you definitely got to make sure and use the right crystals. Damn it, because some of them will do things that. Sorry.
Speaking of that, you would know off the top of your head. Is tonight a full moon?
I actually do not know.
Oh, I thought you'd be like, bam, I know that. It looked, I'm laughing at the comments. It looked full earlier, but it might be one of those like sneaky, like it's not till tomorrow actually full, just because I want to put my crystals
probably. Well, let me see. Waxing phase.
Okay, so not full yet.
Nope.
Okay, cool. Good to know.
Wouldn't hurt to start charging though.
Yeah, it's all good. Should I charge my empath bracelet too? That's not really crystals. That's rainbow hematite.
That's just I don't know, more or less if you want to put your energy into it, absolutely.
Cool.
I mean, spell working, there's really no limits there.
Okay, good to know. See, we're all learning. Be teachable. Never know what you can learn. So.
Oh, I learn something new every day. Believe me. So was acting ever something that you wanted to do, or that you ever, like early on in life, was that ever something that you had aspired to?
I think a lot of kids want to be a movie star just because they want to hang out with the movie stars more than like actually acting. That being said, I was always in show choir. I was in the plays. Nice. I loved being on stage and, like acting, being an actor. And I had a lot of fun. Like in high school, I think it was junior year, we did The Wizard of Oz, and I wasn't the witch, but she had a couple sisters. So I was a witch. And then we did a play called My Sister Irene, and I was a bitch. And my mom accused the school of typecasting me. She actually said that. What, are they typecasting you? I'm like, oh, that was mean. All right. But but I had parts in, we did Guys and Dolls. I was a guy. Like it always seemed to go
that's how stage plays go. You could always play multiple things if you had it. If you could deliver the lines, they
had the people that could dance be the guys because they had a more difficult. Like I did, like a cartwheel into a split kind of, like that was why.
For sure.
But I was laughing because
not everybody can be Prince,
Right. But they made the guys, like we all had to wear suspenders, and all the girls that were playing guys had developed, so all of our suspenders were like, it would look, come on now. But I liked Guys and Dolls. I liked, we did Oliver. That was a huge production. That was a lot of fun. So I enjoyed that stuff. And then I went to college and I auditioned for a part, and I called my parents and I told them that I got the part of the invisible mute girl because I didn't get a part.
Aww.
And that was kind of the end of it until this past year. So, we would do skits at camp, like stuff like that. I've always liked performing, but, and that's what dancing is, an acting job, for sure. So
trust me, when I created my character, it was definitely it was a task. I mean, I've always been that person that just loves to entertain. I love to shock.
Yeah.
That's always been my biggest thing. But horror, it's always been my bread and butter. It's what I've had a passion for my entire life. But I never thought at this point that I would be buying opium from Felissa Rose in a spaghetti western. Uh,
You never know what's around the corner,
you just don't, and that's why you have to take that chance.
Absolutely.
It's like I say it to people all the time. I'm like, audition. Who cares if you don't get it? Just do it, because the more you show up, we're always talking about being present, be present. Well, take that audition. Something comes through, Facebook or whatever, or the actor resources online. Go for it. If it seems like something you can pull off. And sometimes getting typecasted isn't necessarily a bad thing either. I don't think.
My mom was being a smartass about teenage stuff.
Parents
and that's one thing, while my kids were little, I never gave myself permission to do things for me. I had to do mom stuff. I had to always,
I had to do dad stuff
there first.
So I was right there with you.
Right. But now that they're all adults, I'm starting to just be like, yes to things. Like, somehow I won a contest for a boudoir photographer, and I won a session for that, and then became a brand ambassador. So, I do advertising and stuff for her because she's fantastic. I'm not a brand ambassador for her anymore. I still push her because she's amazing and I love her and she does fantastic photography. But it was kind of like, enter this contest. I'm like, yeah, okay, I will, and then I won. And when they announced the winners, I was out on a date night with my husband in a bar and I couldn't hear the live video. And everybody in the comments was congratulating this other girl. And I'm like, oh, okay, she won and everything. And then a couple days later, I get, you haven't answered my email. I'm like, about what? You won. I'm like, I'm sorry, what? I thought the other girl won. Yeah. Blissfully unaware that I had won the contest. So, it was, and now that's been something I've been doing. Like, she put a poll in the studio and specifically asked me to come do the promo shoot for that and stuff.
Nice.
So, but it was funny, between my injury and the fact that both of us didn't trust that the thing would come crashing down. It's kind of like, here, ta-da, like I'm not doing tricks because one of us is going to die. But it was fun. But she's like, what other poses do you do? I'm like, and so I'm like doing the move in my head. I'm like, okay, I would have landed like this, It was really funny.
Sure.
It was a lot of fun. So, but it's, try things and don't be afraid to reach out to people. In 2024, people are more accessible than ever before with social media, with email, with, I talk to people that are on shows. I've met Kevin Smith twice this year.
Right.
I love him. He's such a good human. Here, hold on one second. This is awesome. Oh. Can you read it? He signed it for me.
Awesome.
Me and Kevin Smith. So, stuff like that people that are your heroes, like a lot of them are a lot more accessible than back when in the 80s when I was writing letters, and like joining fan clubs. It's like, yep. Because I am relentless. Like when I have an idea in my head, I will figure it out until I exhaust every possibility, even the ridiculous ones. Because you never know.
Have to. You absolutely have to. There's so there are opportunities today that, especially acting wise, because none of us have formal acting training for the most part. You know what I mean? I think I was talking about this with David J. Paul, who is dude was an athlete. And then he was like, well, shit, I'm fucked up. I can't do that anymore. Well, acting is something I always wanted to do. And then he got into that. And now he's got his own, production company. And he's putting out 5 features next year. So that's why I'm like, when I had that universe moment that said, okay, if you stay a high school music teacher until you're 64, 65, you're never going to do this. Do it now because I love being a creature actor. That was one of my first foremost loves. Psycho Killer. You're gonna have to do some stunts. You're gonna have to be able to handle some of that stuff, right? So I was like, that's it. I'm retiring early, and I did, and here we are.
Now, for me, back in the 80s, early 90s, I did TikTok before TikTok was a thing. I would drag my dad's. It was the video camera, but it had the deck that you had to hang on you, and the like newscaster size video camera. And I would set that up and be lip syncing to music videos and making music videos, and we would make skits. My younger brother had an entire series called The Mutant Mr. Potato Head, and it was people getting killed by Mr. Potato Head. And when he killed them, he would leave an anchovy on their face, and that was like his calling card. And we'd make skating videos, like all this stuff, and we were so creative back then. And then I sent you the Melanie Martinez video that I made with my daughter that I love because I think I look creepy.
That was really good, actually.
Thank you. And it was a lot of fun. So I've always liked playing around with creativity that way.
Sure.
But now you can do everything right here, and it makes it so much easier. Like, I love doing Curse of the Ghostwriter with Johnny because his direction is so helpful. Like, he's like, okay, do it this way, because I don't know what I'm doing. I'm making it up as I go along. And if you give me direction, I'll follow it. I'm not going to tell you no, actually. It's, because I'm learning. And so I had so much fun filming those scenes. My husband is a fantastic cameraman and special effects guy. I don't know what I'm allowed to say, but he finagled things so that they look freaking realistic. That thank God we're not, and stuff like that. So it's been a lot of fun. And Keith, this past weekend, same thing. Again, NDA, can't talk about a lot, but the direction was fantastic when we had to yell plot twist because things didn't work out the way that they were supposed to. Everybody was on board. It was a lot of fun. That entire crew is so much fun that I worked with this weekend. Just super nice people, and we all had a good time, and I can't wait to see episode 2 when it comes out because
they're an absolute blast.
Yeah.
And so I was like, really hated to miss this one.
It was so fun. And we went out to dinner after shooting Saturday. We were shooting for 9 hours outside. So I was a sidsicle. Even with all of my layers, I couldn't feel my ass cheeks by the end of the day. But I got to pet dogs that were in the park, which was so fun. And we went out to dinner, and you could hear this band playing. And I'm like, I bet there's a live band. So me and the special effects guy go to investigate. And meanwhile, I'm in my husband's thermals with a trench coat over, and I was looking. I can't imagine what people were thinking, but so I go into the back room. You open the door. There's 5 old dudes on stage playing, and I'm listening. I'm like,
"What's up, Gary?"
Hi, Gary. I'm like, all right, that was the 3rd Nickelback song. I'm like, they are a Nickelback tribute band. I'm like, I'm here for it. They were having so much fun. And the room was packed, and they're like, and our brothers over by the bar, there's Motley too. I'm like, oh my God, it's tribute band night. It was hilarious. We just had so much fun. It was great. But the guy at the table next to where, it was standing room only, and the guy next to me, his right guard had taken a left. I'm like, I can't smell this anymore. We got to leave. It was really bad. He was ripe. So couldn't listen to the band too long, but they were really fun. And I'm like, who would have thought in my adventures a Nickelback tribute band? Who knew that they existed?
Exactly.
Yeah. Like I said, it's like this old man. He's like, you know what I like? I like your pants around your feet. I peed my pants. I'm like, you are too funny, dude. It was hilarious. So
gotta love it.
I loved it. It was
awesome. It was a blast. I remember after we finished up, we were all in the same hotel together, so everybody came, back to the hotel. It was late at night, big old pizza party,
Nice.
I was so Bush though. I was like, I don't want to leave the bed. It was quite the late shoot. We were there till about midnight. So
Yeah, that
but
was me and
just good
Sammy because we had a room together. Like she was
nice.
perfect roomie, so awesome, and we were just both like, "Good night," like out. So it was fun.
Hell yeah.
Yep, I can't wait to go back, but I hope that it's warmer the next shoot because that was a long day in the cold. And for Chicago, it was not bad. Like
Right.
they get cold, cold.
Especially the wind. Yes.
Oh, the wind was wicked, but I think the best part about Saturday's shoot was when we had to pause because Santa went by on the fire truck.
I had a feeling that there was going to be some faux pas. For us, it was airplanes.
Okay.
It's like, and we're waiting.
Yep. Well, it was that and people on horseback going through the park, which would have been cool if they were in period clothing, but you can't have them going through wearing 2024 outfits while everybody else is in the 1800s. It didn't.
Right.
The horses were beautiful though.
Just doesn't
borrow your horse.
Just doesn't make sense.
Yep. It was fun. And like I said, there were dogs everywhere. Like I'm such an animal person. Like I'm gonna die trying to pet a crocodile. Like I gotta pet the animals. I love them. So
make sure you watch all the crocodile and alligator horror films.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, I love what is it? Mega Python versus that was Gatoroid.
Lake Placid and the other big one from the 80s especially was Alligator.
I was going to say Alligator from the 80s because he lived in the sewers and he'd come up in your pool, which makes no freaking sense at all. That logically doesn't work, but it's a horror movie. But no, Mega Python versus Gatoroid. Have you ever seen that?
Yeah.
Because it's Tiffany and Debbie Gibson. Fan-freaking-tastic. That was like the fight we were all waiting for. All of us 80s kids was like Tiffany versus Debbie Gibson. It was fantastic. I love it. I love those movies.
Oh man.
Maybe one day we'll be in like a sci-fi special like that.
I would like to. I'm about to tackle a SWAT film that's next on 2025. Damn, there's just I got quite a list. Most of us have quite a list for next year.
Well, as Mortimer said, I can't wait to be Nyx in Legend of Bloody Bones 2. That's going to be fantastic.
I'm looking forward to being Death.
Well, there you go.
In that.
And we're both in another upcoming project together.
Metal Earth. Absolutely. Shout out to Looney Dingo. Thank you for letting me to do it.
I'm so excited. Just the little bit that we were talking about my character so far, I'm just so excited to see where she goes. Because I got a couple Sydney-isms in mind. So it's going to be fun.
It's going to be a blast.
Yes.
Dude, I totally remember this one. He says, way off subject, but your story just reminded me of a Killer B movie called Squirms from the 80s, I think. Yep. I know which one you're talking about.
Okay, I'll have to check that out.
That was kind of the hay time for worm type films and like night crawlers, creepy crawlies. Gotcha. It was one of those like low budget, but they used the real thing back then because you didn't have CG and all that stuff. So
of course not. That's why it's so fantastic. Yeah. I will definitely check it out. Babylon said go check it out. I will have to, because like that's what I loved about Night of the Creeps was because there were just like slugs, like blah blah blah, blah, and then the aliens looked like pissed off Pillsbury Doughboy, running around with their little naked butts. And then the guy that's in Halloween 3. I'm drawing a blank on his name. He was the cop in it, and he'd answer the phone and be like, "Throw me."
They always had the best go-to guys for those movies, guys and girls.
Oh yeah,
for all of those, especially Dee Wallace. She was so cool. And literally everything she did, of course, the howling, but
Right.
she was like the best mom for every horror film. And I know she got typecast that way for a while, but man, she was always perfect in those roles. So cool.
Well, that's awesome.
Hell yeah. Well, it has definitely been a blast having you on the underground for the first time. Unholy fuck. Look at Austin. Where you been, man?
Hi, Austin.
Damn it. Says glad to catch your stream. I'm glad you did, man. Don't ever be afraid to say something. Put me in a good mood. And yeah, I love watching your streams. Hope you're doing well, man. It's the best that I can, man. It's usually living in the twilight zone, brother, but that's that's just my life.
So it keeps it interesting. You'd get bored with a boring old life. So,
it keeps me on my toes. It keeps me young.
just yell plot twist and on to the next thing. That's all you can do.
It is a movie. And
Exactly.
if you didn't check out the Tracks of the Damned episode on the soundtrack to your life, definitely check that one out because I'm adding songs weekly.
Yeah. And that's what, you keep saying my life is a movie. My life is a movie. That's what you're telling the universe. So the universe is providing you that movie life. That's what I tell people that are chronically negative. I'm like, you're telling the universe that what you need is negativity. So it's delivering. So the more you say my life is a movie, grab the popcorn, bitch. That's what you're telling the universe you want. So.
Well, I don't know. I guess in my case, for every bad, there is more good. And
like
that's
a movie.
what continues to happen.
That's what happens in the movies, right?
Absolutely.
So that's what I'm just giving you a little warning there.
Babylon says, Mort, I love the idea. All versions of the thing needs to be on it. Yes. He was saying about next horror barbecue for next year should be our favorite alien themed movies. And I could not agree more. That is going to be badass. Absolutely. So I'm in. But we definitely look forward to all of the cool stuff that you got coming up. And as always, we'll make sure that we're going to repost anything that you got coming up. And a lot of the stuff we're connected to, so it's always getting reposted.
Absolutely. And I was going to say, too, a lot of people, we've had this conversation before, but I've been asked about an audiobook. I still want to definitely do it. I'm being a puss and I don't know how to go about it. So I need to look into it because everything is figure outable. And I need to just record it. I have the Polcast room, as I call it. So I can do it. And here I have a whole big stack of soundproofing over here that I need to get up. So it is still in the works. I definitely want to make it an audiobook. My 2024 goal is quickly going to shit. So we're going to look at 2025 as a more realistic goal for that. But as always, we have the goddamn program tomorrow night. So you can catch us on there. I have Learn and Go-Go, the podcast on Wednesday nights on my Learn and Go-Go Facebook page and YouTube. And you can get all things Sid on the link tree that's going down here. You can get to...
Subliminally.
Yes. Get to the Red Huntress Indiegogo page. You can get to my website where you can order a copy of everything I need to know. I learned in Go-Go how a preacher's daughter pole danced her way to finding her true self. And if you get a personalized copy, you not only get the book, you get a handy dandy bookmark. You get a compilation playlist. And if you are in the USA, you get free shipping because I learned real quick not to do international shipping for free because I paid more to ship the book than I need on the book.
Oh, yeah.
$30 to Canada, folks.
That is correct. Just think about Germany.
Yes.
Anytime I've ever shipped anything across seas, whether it was Reapers Underground or my band at the time, woo! It's just not cheap, folks.
No, no. But if you're in the USA, the shipping is free. So if you need a stocking stuffer, there is still time. If you know somebody that would benefit from my book, Christmas and Hanukkah are coming, as is Yule and Kwanzaa and December 25th. What whatever you celebrate is fine with me.
And as always, hopefully everything will be bountiful and abundance will come to you. So thank you so much for joining us tonight. I look forward to tomorrow evening, as you already mentioned.
Get your drinks ready, folks. We're going to Thailand.
If you're ready to sin, if you are ready to get moist, or our new favorite word, thanks to brother Cody for this, if you're ready to get filthy, join us tomorrow night because Rebecca hates that word, and I think it's just absolutely hilarious. But join us tomorrow night at 8 p.m. CST. That's right, Babylon. I expect to see you in full fashion. You better have your Cremis outfit on. I want you to have a hat, tassels, the whole night, tinsel, shit.
The Red Hunter comment by Babylon just made me giggle.
It made me giggle as well.
I just wanted him to know I saw it, I acknowledge it, I giggled.
Lizzie, yeah. Filthy moist. That's what
it's just going to keep growing. That's the problem. It's going to grow like a fungus on all of us.
I know, Rebecca. She says moist is worse, though.
True. Facts.
But still, the fact that he just says it all the time, I just love it. It's hilarious. It is ingrained in my head. Hell yeah, Mortimer. Most deaf, he says, I will wear my Santa hat and jacket. And wait a minute, he said nothing else.
He's not lying. That's the funny part. We all know he's telling the truth.
Never lie. No.
Yeah, and Lizzie's over there going, so.
Right. So at least you have the audience that you want for that. But yeah, definitely join us tomorrow for the season finale for that. And then we got one more Reapers Underground coming up next week, and that will be the season finale. So definitely, please check out Sydnee and all of the cool things that she's doing at her Linktree there. Linktree Sydnee.
Not to interrupt you, but this coming week's episode, did you just watch my train crash in real time? It was like, word. This week's episode of Learn and Go, the podcast, will be the season finale for me, because after that, the Wednesdays are Christmas and New Year's, so I won't be doing shows then. So hop on then, because I might not be back for a couple weeks.
Exactly right. It's good to take a break. It's good to relax. Get those creative juices coming back. So
make yourself moist with creative juices.
See, I was really trying to keep it on the straight and narrow, but it just can't go there.
I'm not straight. I can't do that. I'm sorry.
That is not exactly what I meant.
About that in the book too.
There you go.
Everything comes back to the book.
Everyone is seeing Reaper's brain going, go, 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 go.
I'm here to give your brain a pulse. There's a tagline.
And a happy Friday the 13th to you all as well, especially you, Gary. Thank you for bringing that up. Yes. And, always keep one foot on the ground, one in the fire, and make sure that you always stay heavy. If I can find it. This computer, I'm going to kill it.
Thank you for joining us on Reapers Underground. Stay tuned for more from Black Flame Entertainment.